Hello and welcome to another episode of my F1 22 MyTeam career mode. On episode 8 we are now at the halfway point of the season. We have a sponsorship renewal, so we're going to have a quick flick through, see if there's anything that takes us fancy. But while we're doing this, if you did miss last episode, which was the Austrian Grand Prix, make sure to go and check that one out. I think we are going to stick with this sponsor here, top 14 finish. That's kind of where we're trying to aim for. Looking at the standings, we're still not doing bad. In terms of R&D progress, we're actually right at the bottom now. Williams overtook us going into Great Britain and we're kind of plateaued, but we have plenty of upgrades incoming. And yeah, with that, let's do the activity timeline before we move forward. It's more of the same, just basically doing all the ones except for the department focus. Obviously them ones taking away some morale from the other departments, and we're not exactly had much luck as it is with us upgrades coming in, so I don't want to risk it. One more thing I want to check actually is the driver market, because our contract renewal for his teammate will be coming in, and Vips wants 2 million. That's like 2.5 times what we signed him up for originally, so unless he does something amazing in the next race, we might be looking elsewhere, because yeah, Vips, you're not worth 2 million, fella, I'm sorry. But anyway, with that, let's advance time.
We had a major issue on the production line earlier this week, so the entire development package for the weekend has failed. Any redevelopments will need to be ordered from the R&D screen. We need your input here. Not an easy choice, I know.
So we have a department event for the durability department, and we're just going to agree to this. It takes a little bit of cash away, but it increases morale for aerodynamics apparently for some reason, even though it was a durability thing. But yeah, let's carry on through the week then.
I know we were expecting some new developments to come through, but some of them have failed quality control. We'll need to tell a team what to redevelop via the R&D screen. Could you take a look at this for us, please?
So another event, this time we actually lose some resource points, which we can't really afford to do, so for the engine department, sorry, but you don't get a break. We also had, I think, a couple of upgrades not come in, so we're going to have to go and repurchase them. We had an aerodynamic upgrade fail, which is annoying. We're at the bottom of the aerodynamics chart. Chassis, as major weight reduction didn't come in. We're still above Williams there, but that would have been nice to have. We did get a piston upgrade there, so at least that came in. And we can't really afford anything other than fuel efficiency, but I'm not too bothered about that just yet, so I'm going to save my points until we get more resources, and then we can maybe buy something a bit better. But at least our turbo upgrade for the durability comes in. We get us resources, so with that we're going to go back to the powertrain and get this ERS system upgrade. So it's a major upgrade as well. We're actually not too bad on the engine front, even though we did go with Renault, so at least that's some good news. But with that, let's go to the Hungarian Grand Prix. Alright, so we come out in qualifying then for Q1, and actually I've raced this circuit over the weekend in a couple of league races actually, but that were in GT3 cars, so kind of readjusting, getting the braking points. You can brake a lot later obviously in the Formula 1 car, so we're just going to do probably a couple of back-to-back laps, just so I can get used to this car around this track. As you can see, into T1 I was just so early on the brakes. You can brake a lot later than that in this car compared to a GT3. So at least that's the plan. Do a couple of laps, get used to this car around this track. But unfortunately things don't always go to plan as we come towards the end of lap 1. And you might see it's just started spitting, it started raining. So yeah, it's going to be pretty pointless to stay out because we're just going to get slower and slower anyway with the rain. And I've only had one lap to readjust, so maybe I should have done some of the practice sessions rather than the quick practice. But yeah, it's not looking good. We're nearly a second off as teammate there, so yeah, that's not ideal going into the race. I think Kevin Magnussen actually went out of the out of qualifying, sorry. But yeah, for us, it's not a good start. So once again, starting from the back of the grid in this career.
It's race day in Budapest as we get ready for another round of Formula One action. We're not expecting too many retirements at this circuit. There are plenty of current and former drivers with flawless finish rates here. In particular, Ralf Schumacher, who made it across the line in all 10 of his Hungarian Grand Prix starts. The Hungaroring, it's like Monaco without the boats, although the boats today could come in very handy. 14 corners, 6 to the left and 8 to the right, and some very tricky corners to deal with. These rainy conditions out there aren't going to help either, so it's very likely we'll see a safety car or two during today's race. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Sainz, Hamilton, Sergio Perez, and Norris. Fernando Alonso, Ricciardo, Ocon, and Pierre Gasly. Bottas, Mick Schumacher, George Russell. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Vettel, Albon, Stroll, Yuki Tsunoda, and Yuri Vips. Evans, Magnussen, Joe, they've taken a grid penalty, and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway.
Alright, so we come to race day and it's absolutely siling it down. So yeah, things go from bad to worse because I'm really not good in the rain on this game. The AI seem to... they're just so accurate on the throttle in these kind of wet conditions compared to me. But we'll try as best anyway as the 5 red lights go out and away we go for the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's a bit tentative on the start, a snap of oversteer there as I try and get my foot down. And yeah, a couple of cars go cruising past us and then Magnussen just cuts us off there a little bit. So we'll try and sail it round the outside, but there's just... the grip just isn't there, and we're even going to lose out to Latifi as the rear end is just all over the place on this car. So we're right down to the back of the grid. We try and go around the outside of Latifi, but once again there's just no grip there, and I'm really struggling already in these conditions as we did get a bit of a better exit, but we just got slowed down by Latifi there on the apex. So I think these first few laps are just going to be trying to stay in touch and trying to kind of yeah, just get used to the conditions. Another snap of oversteers. You can see me changing the differential settings just to try and get a better feel with the car. Yeah, really struggling. We look up the inside of Latifi, but the rear again just steps out, and we tuck back in then, and he has a bit of a wiggle as well. So maybe some of the AI struggling. Another wiggle for us there. But we managed just about to keep it in check, and most importantly we survived the lap as I look up the inside of Latifi again. But yeah, there's, it's not really going to work. Once again, wiggling on the power, so you know, maybe after a couple of laps we might get a bit of a kind of dry line forming. That'll help us out at least. But until then, we've just got to try and hang on to the car and not put it in a barrier basically. But here's your race leaders then. You've got Leclerc in the Ferrari, followed by Verstappen, and then Hamilton in the podium position. Then you got Sainz and Perez. Ricciardo doing quite well to get ahead of Lando Norris, and then you have Alonso. Gasly up in the points. He's doing quite well in that AlphaTauri. And then you got Ocon and Russell just outside the points, and Schumacher looking quite lofty as well, so pretty good stuff for them. But we come on lap 4, onto lap 5 this is, and Russell isn't hanging about, he's looking to make a move on Esteban Ocon as he goes up the inside at T1, and he's just going to pull ahead. Can he get the exit and keep it ahead into the next corner? It looks like he can, so that's going to be a Russell up a position then, into the points he goes, and he can go chasing after Gasly then. Meanwhile you have Magnussen looking for a move on Zhou Guanyu in very similar fashion. Looks up the inside, and it looks like he is just going to get ahead around this first corner, and there's actually his teammate up ahead of these two, so maybe he can do us a bit of a solid and hold these guys up, as you can see me flailing around behind Latifi there as we skip forward onto lap 6. I was getting a bit more of a feel for the track and the conditions, and I think there was a bit of a dry line as we just shoot it up the inside of Latifi there actually, and we managed to get ahead. I think Latifi was having actually some sort of mechanical issue as well, so he was even slower than normal. But we'll take it, we'll take what we can, and now we can press on with a bit of clean air and see if we can up the pace a little bit and get onto the back of Zhou Guanyu and Magnussen. And on lap 10, that's exactly what we did. My pace around the middle sector were really good actually. It's just kind of in these last couple of corners and the first couple of corners where I were really struggling getting the traction out of the corners compared to the AI. But I was settling in a little bit to the conditions. I was getting more confident with each lap. You can still see the rear end drifting about a little bit. I was actually running the both wings on maximum to try and just to try and get the grip, as I knew it was going to be a wet race, obviously looking at the forecast. But yeah, his teammate doing a decent job actually of holding these guys up for us. But like I say, through these first few corners, the AI, they just seem to have so much more traction out the corners. And you'll see here around this corner, they just take off a little bit, so the gap, about 5/10, half a second. We got a little bit wide there. The FIA didn't see that, so we're alright. Right on the back of Zhou now, so we do have the pace, especially in this section of the track here. We have the pace to, I think, get past these guys. It's just a very difficult circuit to overtake, and obviously finding the place to do it as well. Yeah, but we're gonna carry on then. We'll keep pushing. Lap 12 this is, and this is his teammate actually going defensive, holding on against Kevin Magnussen in a quicker Haas car. So we're on about Vips not being worth the 2 million that he's asking for, but you know he's not doing bad. We'll see how he does towards the end of the race.
Hang in there, we're attempting to manage it.
And that's our engineer coming on the radio to tell us we have a mechanical issue, which isn't really going to help us catch these guys up. Hopefully it'll just be like an ERS glitch or something like that. Retirement wouldn't exactly be ideal, as like I say, we're catching these guys, although I did drop back a little bit on that lap.
Okay, we have a severe engine issue. Find a safe space to retire or return to the pits.
And it is going to be a retirement.
Again, find somewhere safe to stop. We need you to retire.
So, not ideal. I mean, we haven't done bad for reliability this season so far. I think we've had one or two issues, but we haven't had a full-blown engine blow-up retirement. At least it happened somewhere where we're at the back of the grid and not fighting for points, I guess. But that's going to be the end of our race. And we go back to the pits and not happy at all. So maybe we need to invest in some durability then.
And it's a performance to be proud of from our Hungarian Grand Prix winners. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
It's an heroic effort for any driver to race in conditions like these, and seeing them fight their way to the front was very special indeed. They were able to find all the grip, all the good lines, and had the confidence to get on the power to top it all off. That's what pushed them into first place today.
Looking at the podium, you can see that red suit familiar to fans across the globe. A world-class win for a world-class team. Ferrari do it again.
So it's Charles Leclerc back to winning ways, and yeah, he kind of needed this, didn't he, to get back in the championship fight. He's going to close his gap to Verstappen, who still finished P2, but then you had Sainz on the podium as well, so that's going to help Ferrari catch back up to Red Bull in the constructors as well. So yeah, at this halfway point in the season, we're going to have a quick look at the standings now. This is the race results actually. So Vips actually finished P20, so he only finished above Latifi in the end, so yeah, I don't think he'll be getting rehired. But let's have a look at the standings then. 12 points separate Verstappen and Leclerc. We're still in P12. For the constructors, we're still in P7, and yeah, it looks like Ferrari are closing the gap to Red Bull as well, so it could be very interesting in the second half of the season to see how this championship plays out. Only 24 points behind Ferrari, so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this. But guys, if you did enjoy this rather short episode, remember to leave a like and hit subscribe so you can see the next one, and I'll see you guys then.